Okay, so usually when I do these recap videos, I start off with the Thursday Night Football game, but this is outrageous. Like, I'm recording this literally right after the Detroit Lions got robbed by the refs. They got robbed. It sucks, man. It sucks. The Lions are probably my second favorite team. I'm not emotionally invested in them like I am with the Texans. But I've been there before. If you're a Texans fan, you've been there before. You've witnessed what it feels like to get robbed by the refs. It sucks. No matter how good you played, no matter how much you deserved that win, these old people just show up and take the win from you. Like, that is stupid, man. Like, come on. Like, even if you're a Packers fan, there is absolutely no way you can say that that was hands to the face both times. You know what? Even the Kerryon Johnson drop, fumble, whatever you want to call it, I might let that one slide, but the two illegal hands to the face, like, come on. Like, if they call those properly, especially the last one, the Lions get the ball back with like a minute 30 left, and we've seen Matthew Stafford work some magic before and be able to drive down the field. I'm pretty sure Matthew Stafford would have drove down the field and the Lions would have kicked the field goal and they would have won the game. If they don't call the first one, then maybe the Lions stop the drive and it's pretty much game, because at that point the Packers were down by 2 possessions. So that's just outrageous, man. Like, you cannot do that. Like, as a fan of football, I don't want to talk about the stupid referees. I want to talk about the plays that the players made. Oh, Matthew Stafford had an amazing comeback, or something around those lines. I don't want to talk about how these stupid referees, these old guys that really have nothing to do with what the Lions are doing, what the Packers are doing. I don't want them to be the reason why a team won a game. And this game was huge. It's not like if it was like a week 1 game where the Browns play the Giants. It's nothing like that. The Lions are a legit contender this year, or as the Packers. With this loss, the Lions go from first to last in a stacked division. The NFC North is probably the best division in football right now. And if the Lions would have won, if the refs would have did right by them and not called those BS hands to the face penalties, the Lions would be in first place in their division. But instead, they're sitting in last place. I just think that's pathetic. Like, as a Texans fan, if we were to do that, like if we were in the Packers' shoes, I'd feel bad. I wouldn't, feel good about that win. In fact, go back to 2012 when the Texans low-key robbed the Lions on Thanksgiving. I don't know if you guys remember that. The Justin Forsett touchdown run. I felt kind of bad about that. That shouldn't have been a touchdown. Forsett was clearly down. But then, I think it was Mitchell Schwartz, their head coach at the time. He threw a challenge, and back then you couldn't challenge, scoring plays. Well, if you challenged it, they didn't review it. So he challenged it. The touchdown counted because the refs weren't able to review it because you can't challenge scoring plays. But, it was because of that play that they changed the rule. Now if you challenge the scoring play, you get a 15-yard penalty. But I felt bad about that, you know, like, and it always happens to the Lions. I didn't watch their game against the Chiefs, 2-3 weeks ago, but apparently they got robbed. I remember back in 2014, I believe, they were playing the Cowboys in the playoffs, and they got robbed. Like, this is a common theme with the Lions, man. Like, why the Lions? What does the NFL have against the Lions? I don't understand it. Like, NFL, Roger Goodell, they just gotta do something about these referees. Because I feel like the story this season has been about the refs a lot. Oh, you know, the pass interference challenges. Everyone challenges it. Even if it's obvious pass interference, they never reverse it. You know, like, people were talking about that instead of talking about some other things, like the amazing season that Christian McCaffrey's having. But, you know, no, let's just talk about the refs because they clearly want to be the storyline of the season. And I hate refs. They need to do something about it. Hold them accountable. Like, if you mess up a game, like this game, you should be fired or something. Like, suspended. This is like the NFC Championship game again. Like, things like that just piss me off. Like, refs shouldn't decide the outcome of the game. It's annoying. But, you know, enough about that. Let's go on to the other games, and let's go with the Thursday Night Football game. Giants at Patriots. Patriots won this game 35-14, but even though the scoreboard indicates blowout, this game was close. It was close until like midway through the fourth quarter. And to be fair, the Giants were without Barkley, Sterling Shepard, their backup running back. They were without Evan Ingram. So they were an extremely injured team going into this game. I didn't give them much of a chance coming into this game, but, you know, they fought hard. They fought hard for 3.5 quarters. But at the end, the Patriots just ended up being the better team. Next game. Panthers versus Buccaneers in London. The Panthers won this one 37-26. Jesus Christ, Jameis Winston. The guy's a turnover machine. He's been playing better, but I don't think Jameis Winston's it, man. Like, I think Bruce Arians a hell of a coach. I think the Buccaneers will be competitive for the rest of the year, but Buccaneers are done. Like, Winston, he just ain't it. It's time for them to look for another quarterback. Next game. Eagles at Vikings. Kirk Cousins. Wow. Who knew Kirk Cousins could throw the football around at a high level? I mean, to be fair, Eagles secondary isn't that good. And maybe, just maybe, Kirk Cousins heard about what Zach Brown said. And, you know, he just went off. Stephon Diggs had like a career game. Kirk Cousins had a career game. And the Eagles fall to 3-3. And the Vikings go to 4-2. That's crazy, man. Like, honestly, I had the Vikings winning this game, but I didn't think it was going to be because of Kirk Cousins. Like, maybe Kirk Cousins is starting to turn the page or something. Probably not, but, you know, it's fun to joke around like that. Next game, Redskins at Dolphins, the Tank Bowl. Redskins win this game 17-16. The Dolphins ended up benching Josh Rosen in this game because he was keeping the game too close. So they benched him for Ryan Fitzpatrick. Ryan Fitzpatrick comes in, leads what could have been a game-winning touchdown drive or a game-tying touchdown drive. But then the Dolphins go for 2. You know, it was like a little screen pass to Kenyon Drake on the 2-point conversion, and he just dropped it. That was pretty funny, man. Not gonna lie, the whole Dolphins tanking thing is pretty funny. And then when you see Kenyon Drake just drop a pass like that, a pretty easy pass, it makes you wonder, did he do it on purpose? Probably not, Dolphins are probably just that bad, but yeah, the Redskins get their first win of the season. They go to 1-5. The Dolphins, they fall to 0-5. Next game, Saints at Jaguars. The Saints beat the Jaguars 13-6. Teddy Bridgewater, he's been doing a good job. I believe he's 5-0 now as a starter. So that's 4-0 right now as a starter. So that's very good. He's keeping his team afloat. Honestly, once Breeze went down, I looked at the Saints' schedule and I was like, man, whenever Breeze gets back, his team's gonna be 2-6 or something like that. But right now, the Saints are 5-1. They're thriving, and their bye week's coming up, I believe, in 2 weeks. And I'm pretty sure they'll sit Drew Brees out until after the bye week to be sure he's completely ready to go. But hey, the Saints defense, ever since Brees went down, it's woken up. This Saints team with Drew Brees, they're gonna kick it up a notch. So, I'm sticking with my Saints Super Bowl winners prediction, man. I think the Saints, they're dangerous. Now, as for the Jaguars, they fall to 2-4. And honestly, at 2-4, I think their season's over. I don't think they're gonna do much, honestly. 2-4, 2.5 games behind the Texans in the division. Still have to play the Colts twice, have to play the Texans one more time. I just don't see it, honestly, with these Jaguars. Next game, Seahawks at Browns. Seahawks won 32-28. The Seahawks, they're a very good team. Russell Wilson is playing like an MVP right now. Like I said in last week's video, I think it's Russell Wilson and Christian McCaffrey as the top 2 MVP candidates. And the Browns, they continue to be a mess. Baker Mayfield had another terrible game. I think he did 3 interceptions. Yeah, I think there's a coaching problem over there in Cleveland. Because last year, Baker Mayfield actually looked pretty good. He didn't look this bad at all. Not even close. This Baker Mayfield is terrible. He's worse than Josh Allen right now. And you guys know how I feel about Josh Allen. So, yeah, that's a big yikes. But the Seahawks keep on rolling. And the Browns fall to 2-4. And, yeah, I don't see them climbing out of this hole either. Next game, Bengals at Ravens. The Ravens won 23-17. That's what I expected. There's nothing much to talk about there. The Ravens are clearly the better team. The Bengals fall to 0-6. The Ravens go to 4-2. And like I said last week, someone's got to win the AFC North. So I think by default, it's going to be the Ravens because everyone else in that division, not that good in my opinion. The next game, Texans at Chiefs. Texans won 31-24. If you saw my recap video for this game, then you know how I feel about it. But, sum it all up, Texans went in there. They got to win. They had 40 minutes of possession to the Chiefs 20. So when you keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, then obviously you're going to win the game because can't score points when you're sitting on the bench. Next game, Niners at Rams. Niners beat the Rams 20-7. The Niners defense is nasty. They made Jared Goff look like Jared Goff. Jared Goff, he sucks, man. I bet the Rams regret giving Goff that contract because, putting up, what was it, like 70-something yards in an NFL game, that's terrible. That's terrible. I mean, there's no other way to put it. That's just not good. I mean, you could say, oh, you know, Todd Gurley didn't play, but Todd Gurley ain't been the same. He's not as explosive. This Niners team, a little bit questionable on offense, but their defense is nasty. And if you have a good defense, I love your team. So, I like the Niners. Their defense is nasty. Garoppolo, not sold on him, but their running game is also good. So, who knows what these Niners can do. Next game, Falcons at Cardinals. Cardinals won this game 34-33. The Falcons kicker missed a PAT, so they lost because of it. That's pretty funny. I mean, both these teams, in my opinion, they're not going anywhere. Dan Quinn probably gets fired after the season. Wouldn't even be shocked if he got fired mid-season, like probably sometime around December, late November, because 1-5, there is no way these Falcons climb out of that hole. Cardinals, though, 2-3-1. You know, Kyler Murray looked good, but who doesn't look good against this Falcons defense? Next game, Cowboys at Jets. The Jets won 24-22. Sam Darnold came back, first game back from having mono, and the Jets won 24-22. Despite the referees helping the Cowboys out there late in the game, you know, those BS pass interference calls. Yeah. Saw that, 2 refs. I'm telling you, man, these refs gotta go. But, yeah, the Jets won. They won their first game of the season. 1-4. I don't know, man. I have to see more of these Jets with Sam Darnold before I can really determine their fate for the rest of the season. But they looked like a completely different team with their starting quarterback out there. So, keep an eye on them. And as for the Cowboys, once upon a time, 3-0. Now 3-3. You know, when the Cowboys were 3-0, everybody thought they were Super Bowl contenders. But now we saw that the Cowboys are indeed pretenders. You know, good teams don't lose 3 in a row. Especially to a team like the Jets. You don't lose to the Jets if you're a Super Bowl contender. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. Next game, Titans at Broncos. The Broncos beat the Titans 16-0. A shutout. The Broncos have won 2 in a row after starting 0-4. The Broncos are kind of getting their season on track. I don't know where they'll go from here because they do have to play the Chiefs this Thursday Night Football. Maybe the Broncos can upset them because they are at home. Who knows, but coming into the season, I thought the Broncos were going to be an average to good team. Starting out the season, they were a bad team, but, you know, winning 2 games in a row is good for them. They had a new coach, Vic Fangio, so maybe it was just the players getting used to the new system, and maybe the Broncos will take off from here. As for the Titans, they benched Marcus Mariota for Ryan Tannehill. Now, I don't think Tannehill is that good. I don't think Mariota's good either. At 2-4, the Titans, they're 0-2 in the division. With quarterback controversy, a bad O-line, questionable receivers, questionable coaching, I don't see this Titans team going anywhere either. I think their season's over. So, yeah. Next game, Steelers at Chargers. Man, the Chargers, man, what are you doing? I like the Chargers. I like Phillip Rivers. I like their defense. I like Melvin Gordon. Like, what is going on? I know what's going on. It's the injuries, man. Like, when you have so many injuries to your team, it's hard to compete. And I understand that the Steelers were with their third-string quarterback, so it makes the loss look worse. But you gotta understand, this Chargers team for like what seems like forever. Like, it's just been plagued with injuries, and this season is more of the same. I kind of feel bad for them. In fact, I do feel bad for them because I like the Chargers. I want Phillip Rivers to go Super Bowl. I want him to win a ring because he's just a likable player. But, you know, the Steelers won this game 24-17. And just because the scoreboard says, you know, it was a 7-point game, honestly, it wasn't that close. The Steelers kind of just dominated the whole game, and both these teams are now 2-4. The Steelers, with a backup quarterback, you guys know how I feel about them. I think their season, it's been over, honestly. The second Big Ben went down, their season was over, in my opinion, at this point. They're just kind of just floating around, trying to play upset, in my opinion. As for the Chargers, 2-4, that's pretty bad for a playoff team from last year, a team that many people thought were making the playoffs again this year. But, you know, I'm not going to give up on the Chargers. They play the Titans this week. It's a winnable game. They can maybe get to 3-4, and we'll see where they go from there. If they lose next week, stick a fork in them. They're done. But, yeah, those are my thoughts on Week 6 of the NFL season. Commenting down below your own thoughts on this week of the NFL season. And be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.